Welcome back to Open Up. I'm Tina Miller.
Don Clark, glad you're joining us again. All the folks in Egypt, Brazil, and Norway, you're the ones who are getting a special shout out today.
Yes.
Approaching the 4th of July, we're going to be talking about America, but just ahead, we're going to be talking about growing older without growing old. So
I am so looking forward to that.
Me too.
We'll do some billboards after at this time. Chris, do
Okay.
you have any available for us? Thank
Oh, you bet. Hey, DB and Company Printing and Marketing. We're talking about David Bass, his shop right behind the Fox Theater, right next to Happy Jacks. And they can handle all of your marketing and printing needs. From the largest companies to the smallest startup, they can do it all. And it's dbandcompany.com. There's the phone number, 324-2222. And the Colon, that is, Therapy Center. We're talking about Janet Eileen Mitchell at Callaway and Brimhall. People raving about this gentle therapy that just leaves you cleansed and feeling light and healthy and the health results, effects that people are seeing apparently are just amazing. So it's BakersfieldColonics.com. And Cruiser Car Wash. Thank God for Cruiser. I've got a black car. You just pull right in. 5 minutes, you're right out the other. You know, I actually timed it. It doesn't take 5 minutes. It just takes about 2 or 3 minutes to get through it. Beautiful car wash. Thanks, Frank Horton, for inventing those, giving us 7 of them here in Kern County.
And thank you to our friends at Kern Construction and Electric. Robert Miller is a longtime resident of Bakersfield, and he delights in remodeling homes and businesses. And Robert can be contacted at 661-322-5554. He is a licensed general contractor and electrician. And also, Don, our commercials that are running, we have a big thank you to Personal Express. We don't get to mention them, but we have their commercial.
You bet.
And to Family Motors.
Oh, you bet.
So thank you so very much.
Jose Arredondo, great champion of this city.
Yes.
Well, you know, there was an interesting study, a disturbing study, Larry, that there was people, young people, I think, in a classroom or a gymnasium gathering, were asked to raise their hands if they were proud to be Americans. And hands did not go up. There wasn't a lot of pride. You've just come back from Normandy, where people have paid the price, so many paid the price that these young people could have the freedom to raise or not to raise their hands. How do you deal with that as one who really knows America and loves it?
I do love America, and I think we're blessed by God for this country. Going to Normandy, I think even the Norman people there in France, they say, if you think that the French don't love America, go to Normandy. And they do. We called it the invasion. They called it the liberation. Even though there was 20,000 civilians that were killed, they just love Americans. And we were there for June 6th, the actual D-Day. And we got to go to my wife, Brenda Hallam's father's beach, Utah Beach. And I grabbed sand from there. And then also we went with 2 Iowa corn farmers from there, Randy and Cheryl Lutz. And his father went in on D-Day +2 with Brenda's father. And he brought his father's ashes. Wow. And that was very emotional to see that. He spread his father's ashes on Utah Beach because he had always wanted to come back and never got back. And now he's passed away. Then we went to Omaha. Then we went to Gold, Juno, and Sword. And it was just wonderful. And I think it rejuvenates me by teaching at Arvin. And now we have over 95% Hispanic. And those kids love America. And they see that there's great opportunity. The American dream is still alive. 3 years ago now, starting in the fall, we had 2 Gates Millennium Scholars, both Hispanic. One's going to MIT. One is going to the University of California, Davis, and is on the U.S. Davis Supreme Court there. And he's also an Eagle Scout. Wow. I get chills. I just love it. And I talked to those kids. I said, the key to your future is education, just like mine. La llave de su futuro es educación. La llave de su futuro es educación. Grab that brass ring, and they believe it.
Right.
And when they get into this competition, they lack confidence. But when they go up against this local competition, and they come out for the last 23 years, number one, except one time we were defeated. We've won 20 straight. They believe that they deserve to be there. Then when they go to the state competition, and 2 times Arvin got second
Yeah.
And we got to go 3 years ago back to Washington, D.C. as second in the state of California, having the largest competition. And there, we didn't make the top 10, and they were a little disappointed, but we went into the consolation round, and we got 11th in the nation, and we got first in the far western states.
Wow.
Hawaii,
Isn't that amazing?
Washington, Oregon, California, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona, and Arvin was number one. And in the consolation round, we got a very beautiful, they believe in the American dream. They know. We have doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs that come out of those kids.
Larry,
wonderful.
I read about an incident where former French President Charles de Gaulle, in some kind of official gathering of heads of state, was in a fit of pique and anger, and he said, "I want all Americans out of France." And the American ambassador says, "Does that include the ones buried here?"
Oh, wow.
They said you could just hear a pin drop.
Yeah. That was like an older gentleman that was going through customs, and the story goes, and he couldn't quite understand the French and the language and maybe the accent, and they said, "Sir, I can't believe that you cannot speak French." He said, "Haven't you not been to France before?" He said, "Yes, but the last time I was here, they only spoke German."
Yeah.
Now, you're a Vietnam veteran.
Vietnam veteran.
And so how do you celebrate the independence of our country, the 4th of July? What goes on at your home?
It's poignant.
Okay.
We celebrate by firing firecrackers to go to friends' homes, and we let them off. We don't shoot bottle rockets, and we don't let them go on the roof, but we do do that. Like yesterday, I worked from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock with my good friend Dean Scott at the Arvin Lions, and we were making we made over $400 or $500, and it's a 50% profit. So we'll be able to give at least $200 worth of scholarships, and then more. So we wound up giving a lot of scholarships. So and there are 3 or 4 in Arvin, but me, it's very poignant. Sometimes I just think about my 2 closest friends that I served with that gave their lives for their country, Bobby Shepard and Harry Garrigus. Bobby Shepard was from New Jersey, and I helped celebrate his 20th birthday with fruit cocktail and pound cake. And with Harry Garrigus, he was another radio man like me, and I took my boys to Denton, Tennessee to see his grave. And then, of course, Kenny Johnson from Arvin.
Larry, we've got 3 minutes. I need to ask you, how do we deal forthrightly and honestly and candidly with the great mistakes that our nation has made that is so disillusioning so many young people? The way we treated Indians, the war you were in, that even its leaders now admit was a great mistake. We never should have done that. Those lives were wasted. Our CIA overthrowing governments all over Latin America and installing brutal dictatorships in order to, fight communism. How do we deal with these things and yet reaffirm what America's all about, where we've betrayed our own values? How do we reaffirm now our own values?
I think we're honest about it. I think that in the book, the textbook, We the People, and I hope that's not a copyright violation, but said what we want to do is to live up to the words of our founding documents, which would include the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and then, of course, the Bill of Rights. And I think we admit our mistakes and we go forward and we try to improve them. And we keep the American dream alive. And I believe that God has blessed this country just like He has blessed me. And I believe that everybody has a purpose for being. And that's why that ending scene in Saving Private Ryan is so poignant to guys who have survived the wars, of any war. And as Private Ryan is a grandfather, he says to his wife, "Tell me I'm a good man." And Tom Hanks grabbed him and said, "Earn this."
Earn this.
So I think that's one of the reasons that I work so hard. And when you see these young Mexican kids, some not even born here and others born here, and that they participate at a greater percentage than do native-born Americans, and you see them pursuing their American dream and working so hard at it and understanding the Constitution and believing in it.
Larry, you've been an educator. I knew an educator at Boston University who traveled to Cuba, and he would teach Cuban kids, and he said the contrast, the kids in Cuba were so alert. They were so eager. They were on the edge of their chairs. They were listening to everything he had to say. Comes back to Boston University, and kids are slouching in the chairs and whatever, and hardly paying attention. And that, how did you, as an educator, instill incitement for this?
I just think it was enthusiasm and love of the country and love of the topic. The kids know if you love your subject. The kids know if you love them. And they knew that I did that, and that I was willing to put forth the time to make it interesting, to be knowledgeable, and to be there for them. And the kids know that now. And we compete, and like, for example, we don't work 3 days a week. We work 6 days a week because you have to work. That was a mantra I saw of Jim White when he was here with his wife, Cheryl, that you got to put forth the time, and kids see it. They see if you're enthusiastic. They see it if you care. They see it if you want to be there. And they see it. And they said, and just like when I was a Cub football coach, I want to put them on that field, and I want to put them on that field prepared, and go Cubs, go Bears.
We see it, Larry.
Well, Tina, I think we'll wrap it up with Larry right there. But, we have had the privilege of talking with a great American just before our 4th of July.
Thank you.
God bless you, Larry Hallam, for all you've done.
You, Don.
You bet, in this community.
Thank
We'll
you
be
so
right
much.
back talking about getting older, but not growing old. We'll be right back.
Yes.